Hey there, Diane Conklin with Complete Marketing Systems and Diane'sFarmDozen.com. This is going to be one that might feel like I'm poking the knife in a little bit. Maybe it won't, right? The first episode, I want to talk about the fact that hard work on a farm is a necessity. There's no getting around it, right? Now, there's a difference. It's the same in business, right? You're not going to own a successful business without some hard work and working hard. There's a distinction between those two things, right? Working hard and hard work are two different things because you can work hard and sit at your desk, right? And then there's hard work of digging a ditch. There's hard work of, you know, bringing in crops, baling hay. That's a very different kind of work, right? Than what we think of today for most of us as business owners, right? There's a big difference between me sitting here at my desk working hard, right? Um, on this, for example, shooting videos and, putting this whole program together and all of that. It's not really hard. It's just time consuming. There's a difference, right? But there's a whole big difference between that and even me going out and mowing the lawn, right? With a self-propelled mower. We don't even push them anymore. We sort of walk behind them, right? But one is hard work, one is working hard. On the farm, you do both. You do both. There's no getting around, you know, getting up early, staying up late. Even you're there's always something to do. We'll talk about that in a different episode, but it's hard. You got to feed the animals. You got to make sure that checking the weather, checking the prices of the crops if you've got things in storage that you may want to sell at a particular time. So there's both hard work and working hard. And I think sometimes in society today, and especially as business owners, especially as a new business owner, right? It's like, Dane, this is hard. Well, and you hear people say this, right? If it was easy, everybody would do it. I don't know that that's necessarily the fact, the truth, but yeah, it's not supposed to be easy. Life isn't necessarily supposed to be easy. And sometimes it is, right? I mean, it's not if it's hard all the time, there's something wrong. It shouldn't be hard all the time. But my point is that I want you to understand and really, really take in that there's nothing wrong with hard work. And there's nothing wrong with working hard. I've never gotten anything in my life that was easy that was handed to me, right? And look, if you do and you get things handed to you, good for you. More power to you. I'm happy for you. I truly am, right? But most things in business, most success is going to come when you work hard and when there's hard work involved. And there's no getting around it. There really isn't. Yes, you can hire. Yes, you can leverage. Yes, you can, when you get to the point where you can leverage and scale in your business. But the hardest part, I think, of most businesses is wherever you are at the moment. Profound, right? You thought I was going to say at the beginning or whatever. But we all think, well, if I could just get through this, right? Have you ever had this thought? Well, if I just get through this part, it'll be easier. Does it? Kara Lawson, who's the coach of the women's basketball program at Duke University, says things don't get easier. You just do hard better. And I love that, right? And so I've taken kind of an offshoot of that and utilized do business better, right? But when you think about that, it's true. It takes the same effort to lift a 20-pound dumbbell today as it did 6 months ago, but it feels lighter, right? Not because the weight has changed. The work is the same. The work isn't any easier or any harder. It's the same. You're just doing it better. Why? Because you got stronger. It's not easier. You got stronger. You changed. And so I think when you look at what are the lessons that you're learning when times are hard and when you're working hard, a few years ago, I had somebody come to one of my events and she was burned out and tired and frustrated and wasn't making the kind of money that she wanted to make. And so we talked about what her typical day looked like. And so the advice that I gave her was very simple. As a coaching client, I said to her, you need to glue your butt to the chair, decide what your work hours are, right? Glue your butt to the chair and work during those hours. Stop being distracted by the phone, by text messages, by social media, by the dust in the house that needs to be, by the dog, by the kids, whatever it is that's distracting you. Sit down and glue your butt to the chair and work during the time you're supposed to be working. You choose. Is it 4 hours a day, 6 hours a day, 10 hours a day? It doesn't matter. But when you're supposed to be working, work. Do the thing you're supposed to be doing, right? 90 days later, she called me all excited because she had just scheduled her first vacation in 6 years. She was making money. She was swimming in it, based, as compared to where she was before. Why? And again, a lot of people don't like this word, but because she was disciplined enough to sit down and do the hard work and to work hard during the times when she was working, right? And so, it's funny. I think because I grew up on a farm and because I'm so used to long hours and was used to working, you go to school, you come home, you do your chores, and do your homework, right? Those things had to be done before there was ever playtime or TV time or whatever. And I think that hard work and working hard was so ingrained in me. And I think it was from, not only the 75 acres that that my parents owned, but the 450 the dad farmed. There was always something to do. Once I got my driver's license, Katie barred the door, right? Diane, run me to this farm. Diane, come pick me up. Diane, it was those kinds of things. But again, it wasn't hard as far as, it's not hard to drive from one farm to the other and pick that up, right? But you were working and you were helping and and I think that's the thing that I always fall back on or go to is what I'm doing ultimately going to help somebody? And if the answer to that is yes, it never feels quite so hard. It never feels quite as much like work. When I know that at the end, right? Now I love doing this. I love teaching and coaching and speaking, right? So this is a joy for me to do these programs and to get this content out to you. So this never feels like work, although speaking is work. I will tell you it is, and it takes preparation and all of that kind of thing. And so what I would say to you is if you get to a point where you feel like, oh my gosh, right, I'm working so hard, take a step back and really look at what you're doing. Reevaluate how you're working, what you're doing, and whether or not you're being interrupted. When you're on the tractor out in the field, right, plowing or disking or planting or harvesting or whatever, you're pretty focused on what you're doing. And so how do you get into a mode in your work life where you can focus, right? I will tell you, I do it by turning the phone off, by turning social media. I don't have notifications coming. I know that doesn't make me hip and cool, but hip and cool doesn't pay the bills, right? So you figure out what works for you. I am very calendar oriented. I do what my calendar says. I turn phones off. I'm not available. I have one day out of the week that I don't do any client work. I work on my business. And so figure out what works for you so that you're not working hard all the time, so that the work doesn't become drudgery. It should be fun. If it's not fun, then reevaluate. If it's not fun, please reach out to me. Let's have a discussion. Let's talk about where you are and why you're working hard, too hard, right? Or harder than you should be, even when there's hard work to be done. You don't always have to work hard, and you need time where you're not working. I hope you found this helpful. Let's talk about hard work. Let's talk about how you feel about working and what you're doing. Leave me some comments, reach out, let me know how you're doing, what you need help with, how I can help you. Until next time, make it a great day. And if you want the dozen, Diane's Farm Dozen, go to dianesfarmdozen.com. You can get them there, as well as make sure that you get the rest of the video series.